And listen to the proceedings.
All right, back on the record in the Simpson matter. Mr. Simpson is again present before the court with his counsel, Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Kardashian, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Blazer. People represented by Ms. Clark, Mr. Darden, and Mr. Hodgman. The jury is not present. Good morning, counsel. All right, the record should reflect that earlier this morning at 9 o'clock, the court met informally with counsel here in the courtroom, because there are too many lawyers to go into chambers this morning, for the purposes of discussing notifications to the jurors regarding their rights of privacy and the interest of the news media to interview them or speak to them following the delivery of the verdict in court here today. The court distributed to the parties copies of the questionnaire that has been distributed to the jurors, and also the notice to them regarding confidentiality under 237 of the Code of Civil Procedure. And those two questionnaires have been returned by the jurors. They have uniformly indicated their desire that their private information remain confidential. They have also indicated to the court unanimously a desire not to speak to the attorneys after the conclusion of the trial, and not to speak with the news media either. All right, counsel, is there anything else we need to take up before I invite the jurors to join us? All right, Deputy Trower, let's have the jurors, please.
We're waiting for the jurors to come in. They have filled out a questionnaire which they've indicated uniformly they want their private information to remain confidential. They do not wish to speak with the attorneys and do not wish to speak with the news media. John Burris outside the criminal court building, does that surprise you? Given the fact that they've been sequestered for so long?
No, it doesn't. Jurors have been in major cases like this do not want to talk to the media at that time. They may do so later, but they want to get away from it. They want to have their privacy reinstated, and they want to do it under circumstances where they control it better. So I'm not surprised at that. I know it's disappointment for the lawyers, disappointment for the media, but it's not surprised they want to get on with their lives and get away from financial gain.
Let's go to Greg Lamont, who's at the AME Church, is standing by like all of us are waiting for this verdict. Greg, what's the mood there?
For the media. As I was saying, the judge was taking the bench. We had requested.
Greg, what is the mood there at the AME Church?
We're at the first AME Church in Los Angeles, the largest African-American church in Los Angeles, where several dozen people have gathered here to see the verdict as it is announced. Got several
coming into the courtroom.
Reflect that we have now been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel and our alternates. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Mrs. Robertson, would you have the envelope with the sealed verdict, please? All right, would you give those to Deputy Carl?
She's standing there.
And would you return those to our four-person juror number one? All right, Madam Foreperson, would you please open the envelope and check the condition of the verdict forms?
You focused on his hands.
All right, Madam Foreperson, you've had the opportunity to review the verdict forms. Are they the same forms that you signed, and are they in order? All right, would you hand those please to Deputy Trevor? And you have signed and dated those verdict forms indicating the jury's verdict. All right, thank you. and the jury, I'm going to ask that you carefully listen to the verdicts as they are being read by the clerk, Mrs. Robertson, as after the verdicts have been read, you will be asked if these are your verdicts. And I would caution the audience during the course of the reading of these verdicts to remain calm. If there is any disruption during the reading of the verdicts, the bailiffs will have the obligation to remove any persons disrupting these proceedings. All right, Mrs. Robertson. All right, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Simpson, would you please stand and face the jury? Mrs. Robertson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the State of California versus Orenthal James Simpson. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, further find a special circumstance that the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, has in this case been convicted of at least one crime of murder of the first degree and one or more crimes of murder of the first or second degree to be not true. Signed this 2nd day of October 1995, Juror 230. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict? So say you one, so say you all.
All right, counsel, Mr. Simpson, would you be seated, please? Just have a quiet courtroom, please. All right, Mrs. Robertson, would you please poll the jurors?
Juror number 1, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 2, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 3, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 4, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 5, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 6, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 7, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 8, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 9, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 10, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 11, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 12, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Count 2. Juror number 1 is to count 2, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 2 is to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 3 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 4 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 5 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 6 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 7 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 8 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 9 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 10 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 11 as to count 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 12 as to count 2, is this your verdict?
All right, the clerk is directed to record the verdicts as read. The parties agree to waive reading of the verdicts as recorded. Mr. Cochran, do you waive reading of the verdicts as recorded? Ms. Clark, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to at this time take this opportunity to publicly thank you for the service that you've given to us. The burdens that we've placed upon you were enormous, and words can't begin to express the debt that we owe to you for the time and patience and exertion that you've given to us during the course of this case. I will have an opportunity to meet with you privately later, and I'll give you my private comments when we have a chance to meet. I want to caution you at this time that there is, as you know, intense media interest in this case. The news media will probably seek you out at your home or at your place of business. And I would implore that the news media act responsibly to avoid harassing you or identifying you without your consent or otherwise causing you concern. The bailiffs from the Sheriff's Department, to our court reporters, Ms. Foxham and Ms. Olson, to the research attorney, John Byrne, who's assisted us, our Pepperdine Law.
Let's see. Okay, all right, we're rolling.
The first thing I should do is just ask.
My name is John Knapp, K-N-A-P.
Is that J-O-H-N?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and what, are you here at Georgetown?
Yeah, I'm a second-year law student.
What's your reaction to it?
Well, my reaction is that rich lawyers can easily fool people, and I suppose that means I have a promising future.
What do you think about the jobs that the two sides did? How successful? I mean, obviously one side was more successful, but how well did they do as far as the cards they were dealt?
I was really surprised. I expected people would see through all these hokey schemes that the defense came up with, and I mean, even the glove. You know, he had a latex glove underneath it. Of course, it didn't fit. His hand was automatically bigger that way. I mean, I don't see how people can see through such obvious things.
What do you think about the fact that the jury only took like 3.5 hours to reach a verdict?
Well, I suppose after 8 months of thinking about it, it'd be pretty easy to come to a conclusion. I'm just surprised it came out the way they did.
What kind of message do you think it sends about the court system, the judicial system, and attorneys?
Well, if you get a team of 7 millionaire lawyers, you can get out of anything. It's that simple.
Thanks. Okay, we will.
Can I get your name too?
Melissa Newman.
N-E-W-M-A-N?
N-E-W.
Okay. And what year are you here at the law school?
I'm a third year.
What do you think about the verdict?
I don't agree with it, but it is what I expected the jury to say.
How effective do you think the lawyers were in their arguments or their presentation?
I think Marcia Clark was amazing. I think she had a lot to work with, and she worked with it well for, I mean, for what did she earn? You know, $1 an hour in the end, and she was compelling, and she proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt as far as I'm concerned, and as far as my peers are concerned.
Do you think she was just dealt a bad hand in terms of some of the other factors in the case, like Furman and things like that, she had to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, Furman was, could they have foreseen it? You know, maybe, maybe not. The way it came out was obviously a real blow to the prosecution, not through any fault of any of the prosecuting attorneys. But there were factors that they were battling against that I don't believe any amount of skill as an attorney would have overcome, and I think that includes the race factor, and I think that includes the situation of Mr. Simpson as a famous sports figure and his position in the media, and I don't think anything that Marcia Clark could have done could overcome that.
How do you feel from an ethical point of view as someone who's studying to become an attorney? How do you feel about the way the defense attorneys conducted themselves in the case?
The way the defense attorneys conducted themselves? I think that towards the end, if I can focus on that was an abomination, and playing the race card in Johnny Cochran's terms as he did, to appeal to those sensibilities and to say basically, regardless of what you've seen factually, you need to take into account emotionally, and he delivered a sermon that I don't believe represents the judicial system. That sermon belongs not in a courtroom but in another venue.
What message do you think it sent the whole trial and the verdict?
What message do I think the trial and verdict sent to
the public in general?
That you can buy anything. That you can get away with anything if you've got the money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. What's your name?
Rachel Jacobson.
And
I'm a third year.
You're a third year. So what did you think? What was your reaction when you heard it?
I was very shocked. Was very upset, actually. I was pretty sure when it came back so fast that they were going to convict him, so I was very surprised. when they said not guilty.
Do you think the lawyers were? What do you think of the lawyering on both sides of the case?
I think the biggest problem for the prosecution was that a lot of the information was very technical and over the heads of the jury. I think that as a law student, I understood a lot more about what was going on in the prosecution's case, but the defense case was much more flamboyant, really appealed to people generally, and I think that was one of the reasons they prevailed, unfortunately.
What do you think about the jury what does it say the jury took 3.5 hours to make up their mind?
They clearly had already made up their minds. I don't know what particular card that Cochran played or that Marcia Clark didn't play or that they didn't understand that made the difference, but a result like that means that they had already decided long before and were biding their time.
And what do you think about the ethics and the methods that the attorneys on both sides used? Do you think that they were within the bounds of reasonable and zealous lawyering, or were they over the line?
I think they went over the line, but I think that having the media encourages that. I think it's rather sick state of affairs when a terrorism trial of 10 defendants who are accused of trying to bomb up various areas around New York City takes the same amount of time when it's 10 defendants and no media as a trial that should have taken all of 6 to 8 weeks without the media. And the case may have turned out differently if there hadn't been so much media coverage. I mean, the defense definitely was playing to the media, and as a result, I think the prosecution had to do some of that as well, just as a defense to the defense.
Okay, great, thanks.
Harley. Spies, S-P-I-E-S.
Okay. What year are you?
One up.
Okay. What'd you think? Were you surprised?
Not surprised, having heard Johnny Cochran's closing arguments, but still really disappointed, I guess. I mean, I didn't see how a reasonable person could have had any doubt, having seen the evidence against OJ, and so I guess I had faith that eventually they would come to the right decision. So in that sense, I guess I was surprised.
What was it about Johnny Cochran's closing argument that made you wonder that it might not work out?
Well, I think Furman was the death that killed the prosecution's case, and when Johnny Cochran, the fact that he had to bring the race card in and talk about societal racism rather than his specific client, I think proves the fact that his client was guilty and he couldn't deal with the facts of the case but had to make a larger societal justification for letting OJ off. And I think when he did that, it was the end of the prosecution's case, because at least a couple people were likely to buy that argument that they should send a message about racism out to society and acquit OJ and forget the facts of the case.
Do you think it was right for Judge Ito to allow him to make that argument?
I don't know the specifics of the law. I found it disappointing, but I mean, on the other hand, it's his job to do all he can to get his client off, so I guess I don't begrudge him his right to do that.
Are there any lessons, do you think, to be learned from the trial as a whole, but not only the verdict, but just the whole way it was conducted?
I mean, it was a media circus, and I think it's too bad if Americans think that's how trials take place. No other judge would allow his docket to be taken up by over a year's worth of one trial and spend millions of dollars to carry that trial on. I think it also shows that money can buy a defense.
Great.
Thank you. I'm switching. I'm going to get this is a little different background, everybody. A little shorter.
What? Can I get your name too?
Thomas.
Thomas.
Giovanni. Giovanni.
Okay. And
I'm a first year.
First year. What did you think when you came in here and heard the verdict come out?
I wasn't surprised or unhappy. It's really what happens when you have lies. The prosecution definitely told lies, and they were caught, and they were caught early, and they were caught quickly, and so they had to pay the price of losing the case.
So you don't think the prosecution did a very good job, or do you think they had a bad set of evidence? Or
I think both. I think Furman started it. If anybody played the race card, Furman played the race card, and so I think from there they got in trouble by trying to back him up instead of making their own case.
What about the way the defense team handled it? Do you think they were right in their approach?
I think both. That would definitely be the approach I took, and I think both players went beyond what I would call reasonable bounds. But if that's the way they're going to be, they're going to be that way. It's not like the prosecution complained, we didn't know Furman was a racist. When we put him up there and made him look like a Boy Scout, that's what we get when you bust us.
But what do you say to people that say, regardless of whether Furman is a racist or scumbag or even Hitler, how do you make the connection from that to therefore OJ is not guilty?
Simple. If Hitler pointed to a Jew and said he did it, would you believe him?
Do you think, what kind of messages, what kind of lessons do you draw out of the trial? What do you think? I mean, the public has been more involved in this trial than any trial, certainly in this generation.
I think it shows you, it helps have money to defend yourself because you are going against the entire state. And it also shows that the process of trials is very messy. I have a lot less respect in general than I came to it with. But that's the way it is. I mean, the court cases I've been reading as a first-year law student show me the same things. I can see it on camera. And so it's harder to run from, but it's the truth.
Do you think all the media attention then, if you think the outcome was correct, do you think the media attention therefore helped the situation and ensured that things were done fairly?
Definitely. Without the media attention, this could have all been done behind closed doors, and you never would have known about some of the things that were said in that court. And other people never would have been able to be contacted because of that. I definitely think the cameras had a great influence and a good influence in terms of if you're just against bad prosecution or if you're pro-defendant in any kind of way. I think they had a definite big impact and a good impact in that at least you have to do it in public.
Great.
Thanks.